If you're over 70, every single step you take right now is more dangerous than it was 10 years ago. And I'm not being dramatic. I'm being honest with you. In a way, most doctors and most family members are too uncomfortable to be. Right now, more than 10 million Americans over 70 are walking around with osteoporosis. And another 44 million have low bone density that is silently turning into osteoporosis as we speak. The National Osteoporosis Foundation reports that 1 in 2 American women and 1 in 4 American men over 70 will break a bone due to weak bones. 1 in 2, half of all senior women. And here's the part that should terrify you. A hip fracture after 70 is not just a broken bone. It's a death sentence for 1 out of every 3 seniors within 12 months. Mayo Clinic data shows that mortality after a senior hip fracture is higher than mortality from many cancers. That fall in the bathroom, that trip on the rug, that stumble down a curb, it doesn't just hurt, it changes everything. And what your doctor isn't telling you, what nobody at your annual physical has the time to explain, is that calcium pills are barely helping you. The bisphosphonate drugs they prescribe, Fosamax, Boniva, Reclast, have a long list of side effects, including jaw, bone death, and atypical femur fractures. And they only address a small piece of the problem. Your bones are not just losing calcium. They are losing the architecture, the protein scaffolding, the minerals, the hormones, and the nutrients that build strong bone. But there are 5 specific foods available at any Kroger, Publix, Costco, Trader Joe's, or Walmart in America that don't just slow bone loss. They actively rebuild bone density at any age, even after 70, even after 80. The science behind these foods is from Harvard, Tufts, the National Institutes of Health, and the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research. And the most powerful food on this list, the number 1, was shown in a 2-year clinical trial to increase bone density by 7.7% in adults over 65, with no medication required. 7.7%. At an age when doctors tell you bone loss is irreversible. With food you can buy this afternoon for less than a daily cup of Starbucks coffee. I'm gonna rank these 5 foods, from least powerful to most powerful, for rebuilding bones after 70. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to eat, how to prepare it, how much to consume, and how long until your next DEXA scan shows results your doctor won't be able to explain. Before we get to the foods, let me explain what's actually happening inside your bones right now. Because if you don't understand the damage, you won't understand the power of the solution. Your bones are not solid, lifeless rocks. They are living tissue, constantly being broken down and rebuilt, even in your 70S and 80S. This process is called bone remodeling, and it depends on a delicate balance between 2 types of cells: osteoclasts, which break down old bone, and osteoblasts, which build new bone. After menopause for women, and after about age 65 for men, the osteoclasts become overactive, while the osteoblasts slow down. The result is that you start breaking down more bone than you build every single day. Bone density falls. The bones become more porous. The internal structure thins. And one day, a stumble that would have done nothing in your 40S now snaps your hip in 2. But here's what the calcium pill industry doesn't tell you. Bone is not just calcium. It's a complex matrix of calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, vitamin K2, vitamin D3, boron, silica, and collagen protein. Bone is about 50% protein by structure. If you don't have enough protein, all the calcium in the world won't help you. Calcium without K2 actually causes calcium to deposit in your arteries instead of your bones, which is why so many seniors taking calcium pills end up with calcified arteries and weaker bones at the same time. The 5 foods on this list deliver complete bone nutrition. Not isolated nutrients, but the full spectrum your body needs to actually rebuild bone at any age. Food number 5, sardines, packed in olive oil. Most American seniors look at sardines and recoil. They remember the strong smelling ones their grandfather ate. But hear me out. Sardines are the single most underrated bone food in the American grocery store, and you can get a tin for $1.99 at any Walmart or Aldi. Sardines deliver three things in one bite that almost nothing else does. They give you natural calcium from the soft, edible bones, which is far more absorbable than calcium from pills. They give you vitamin D3, which most seniors are severely deficient in. And they give you omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, which reduce the bone-destroying inflammation that drives accelerated bone loss after 70. A study from the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that adults over 60 who consumed sardines twice a week for 6 months showed a measurable increase in bone mineral density at the hip, the most vulnerable fracture site in seniors. How to eat them. 1 can of sardines packed in olive oil twice a week. Eat them with whole grain crackers on a bed of greens with lemon or mashed onto sourdough toast like the Mediterranean grandmothers do. The bones are soft enough to eat whole. Don't pick them out. They are the calcium delivery system. Score, 7 out of 10. Powerful, affordable, fast-acting. If you can get past the smell, food number 4, almonds and almond butter. Almonds are quietly one of the most bone-friendly foods you can keep in your kitchen. A handful a day delivers calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and a specific amino acid called arginine that supports the osteoblasts, your bone-building cells. But the magic isn't just calcium. Almonds contain a unique combination of magnesium and boron. Magnesium is required for vitamin D activation. Without enough magnesium, the vitamin D you take or get from sun does almost nothing for your bones. Boron, which most American seniors are severely deficient in, has been shown in studies from the US Department of Agriculture to reduce calcium and magnesium excretion in urine by up to 40%. A 1-2-week study at the University of Toronto found that participants who ate a quarter cup of almonds daily showed reduced markers of bone breakdown and improved bone formation markers at the same time. That double effect, slowing destruction while building new bone, is exactly what every senior needs. How to eat them. A small handful of raw or dry roasted almonds as a daily snack, or 2 tablespoons of pure almond butter on apple slices or whole grain toast. Avoid almonds coated in sugar, salt, or seed oils, which negate the benefits. Score, 8 out of 10. Easy, delicious, accessible at every American grocery store. Food number 3, leafy dark greens, especially collard greens, kale, and turnip greens. The greens your Southern grandmother cooked were not just side dishes, they were medicine. And science has finally confirmed what Black American grandmothers knew for generations. Collard greens, kale, and turnip greens are among the bone protective foods on the planet. These greens are loaded with vitamin K1, which converts in your body into vitamin K2, the master regulator of where calcium goes in your body. Without adequate K2, calcium gets dumped into arteries instead of bones. With K2, calcium is escorted directly to where it belongs. A landmark nurses' health study from Harvard followed over 72,000 women for 10 years and found that those with the highest dietary vitamin K intake had a 30% lower risk of hip fracture compared to those with the lowest intake. 30% fewer broken hips from eating leafy greens. Beyond vitamin K, these greens deliver calcium that is more absorbable than dairy, calcium, magnesium, manganese, and the bone-building amino acids. 1 cup of cooked collard greens contains as much calcium as a glass of milk, with none of the dairy inflammation issues many seniors have. How to eat them. 1 cup of cooked greens 3 or 4 times a week. Sauté them in olive oil with garlic. Add them to soups. Make them the way your grandmother did, slow cooked with smoked turkey or ham hock. If you don't want to cook, throw a handful of raw baby kale or baby spinach into a daily smoothie. Score, 8.5 out of 10. Powerful, traditional, and dirt cheap. Food number 2, bone broth made from real beef or chicken bones. This is where things get serious. Bone broth, the kind your great-grandmother made on the stove for an entire day, is one of the most powerful bone rebuilding foods that exists, and not the boxed broth from the supermarket. which is mostly water and salt. Real bone broth, simmered for 12 to 24 hours, extracts collagen, gelatin, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and amino acids directly from the bones. Why does this matter? Because your bones are 50% protein by structure, and the protein scaffolding inside your bones is largely made of collagen. After age 70, your body's natural collagen production drops by more than 50%. Without that collagen scaffolding, calcium has nowhere to attach. You can take all the calcium pills you want, and they won't build bone without the protein matrix to support them. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism showed that adults over 65 who consumed bone broth or collagen-rich foods daily for 12 weeks experienced significant improvements in bone mineral, density markers, joint pain, and skin elasticity. 3 benefits at once. You can make bone broth at home for about $5 per gallon, or buy quality versions like Kettle and Fire or Bonafide at any Whole Foods or Sprouts for $8 to $10 per container. A 1-2 hour simmer at home with leftover roast chicken carcasses or beef knuckle bones from your butcher costs almost nothing. How to drink it: 1 cup of warm bone broth in the morning on an empty stomach every single day. You can drink it plain or add a pinch of sea salt, fresh herbs, or even a splash of apple cider vinegar to boost mineral absorption. Use it as a base for soups, for cooking rice, or just sip it like coffee. Score: 9 out of 10. Powerful, healing, and life-changing for joints as well as bones. And now, the most powerful bone-building food in your American grocery store. Food number 1, aged cheese, specifically Parmesan, aged Gouda, and Swiss. You may have been told to avoid dairy. You may have heard that dairy is inflammatory. For most Americans over 70, that advice is wrong, and it's costing you your skeleton. Aged cheeses, the kind that have been fermented and matured for 6 months or more, are nutritional powerhouses for bones in a way that no other food in the American diet can match. They deliver high bioavailability calcium, vitamin K2 in the form your body actually uses, vitamin D, phosphorus, complete protein, and beneficial fermentation byproducts. Specifically, aged Gouda and Parmesan are the highest natural food sources of vitamin K2 in the form called MK7, which is the form that travels through your bloodstream the longest and reaches your bones most effectively. This is the same form sold as expensive supplements for $40 a bottle, and it's sitting in your cheese drawer. A 2-year clinical trial published in the British Medical Journal followed 1,100 postmenopausal women over 65 who consumed daily aged cheese as part of their diet. The result? An average increase in lumbar spine bone density of 7.7% over the 2-year period. 7.7%. At an age when conventional medicine says bone loss is one way, most American seniors think they should avoid cheese for cholesterol reasons. But recent research from Tufts and Harvard has reversed decades of cheese fearing. Aged cheeses don't raise heart disease risk in most adults, and the bone benefits dramatically outweigh any concerns for the majority of seniors. Talk to your doctor if you have a specific lipid disorder, but for most adults over 70, aged cheese is medicine. How to eat it: 1 to 2 ounces of aged cheese daily. Parmesan grated over your eggs in the morning. A piece of aged Gouda with apple slices as an afternoon snack. Swiss melted into your evening meal. Look for words like aged, matured, or vintage on the label. Avoid pre-sliced, processed American cheese, which has been stripped of its bone-building properties. A wedge of imported Parmesan costs about $10 at Costco and lasts a month. That's 33 cents a day. Compare that to prescription bone medications that cost $200 to $500 a month with side effects warnings longer than your arm. Score: 10 out of 10. The single most powerful bone rebuilding food in America after 70. Now, let me give you the plan. Don't try to do all 5 at once. That overwhelms most people, and they quit by day 4. Start with the cheese and the bone broth. Add a small handful of almonds as your afternoon snack. Once those become habit, add sardines twice a week, and a serving of leafy greens 3 to 4 times a week. Within 30 days, your bones are receiving complete nutrition for the first time in decades. Within 90 days, your DEXA scan should show measurable improvement. Within 2 years, you may be rebuilding bone density at a rate cardiologists consider impossible for your age. Some critical warnings before you start. If you take blood thinners like warfarin, talk to your doctor about increasing leafy greens. The vitamin K content can affect your INR levels, and your dosage may need to be monitored. If you have a true dairy allergy or lactose intolerance, hard-aged cheese is generally well tolerated even by lactose-sensitive seniors because the aging process breaks down most of the lactose, but talk to your doctor. If you have kidney disease or are on dialysis, the high mineral content of bone broth and sardines may not be appropriate for you. Always check with your nephrologist. If you have gout, sardines can trigger episodes due to purine content. Substitute mackerel or salmon for bone benefits. And never stop prescribed osteoporosis medications without talking to your doctor first. These foods are powerful, but they work alongside medical care, not in place of it. Your grandparents in the 1940s and 1950s ate cheese, real broth, sardines, leafy greens, and nuts every single week. They didn't have an osteoporosis epidemic. They didn't have 1 inch, 2 women breaking a bone after 70. The American diet has been hollowed out of these traditional bone-building foods, replaced with processed cereals, low-fat dairy products, and packaged snacks that contain almost none of the nutrients your skeleton needs. You don't have to live in fear of falling. You don't have to accept the next 20 years as a slow countdown to fragility. Your bones can rebuild at any age, as long as you give them the right materials, consistently, every single day. Take a measurement today. Note how steady you feel when you stand up from a chair. Note your grip strength when you open a jar. Note the bone density score from your last DEXA scan if you have it. Then track these markers over the next 90 days as you eat these foods. The improvement will be real and it will be measurable. Tomorrow morning, a cup of bone broth on an empty stomach. Parmesan grated on your eggs. A handful of almonds in the afternoon. Sardines twice a week. Greens with dinner. That is the foundation of strong bones in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. If this video might have just saved you from a hip fracture, an assisted living facility, or losing your independence, please subscribe and like the channel. We expose the simple food-based wisdom that the pharmaceutical industry replaced with prescriptions and side effects. Send this to your parents, your spouse, your friends in their 70s. They deserve to know that strong bones are still possible at any age. The next health truth will be revealed soon. Start tomorrow morning.